bayinza ko garanti y'omutwe eriruddawo n'avuddeyo atabuka ate tekalabika ekikutegeeza nti kafere tekalabika tewali akamanyi naye baketegekedde musitekasimba bakanyiga zino ez'omwowino bagenda okukanyuga ez'omwowino awo kekaliyingira mu kyembazi bagenda bakalindidde bakanyiga ez'omwowino entula kakati nkubuulira naye nkugamba nti kakati today baga tuliberalizing emwanyu kakati they are coming up with a new policy bakugamba nti ate today mu coffee marketing board nga tuziwadde private person mwebaza aga ntabimanyiko yabadde abiyimbirira
yabyeganyi
oyuvaamugoba dda tumwebaze busaaki anti wulira anti tumwebaze yepankira ku mukozi when you are not be part of my drop yakateekaze yakateeka yaye bidandi yani oyanuka kati akola endagano ne tumwebaze n'amuwola ebbali tumwebaze ali mu nnaku 40 tabalibwa anuka kati ali mu luggi ayolekedde anti nkubuulira nti failure to explain. Let them explain what has warranted to go back to coffee marketing board and what benefits are we going to have. Read them. Why do you expect us to come? Let them. Kakati Minister of Agriculture agaita bimanya avemu. Wabeho Minister of Agriculture anabinyonyo. Yes, governments do things, unpopular things. Margaret Thatcher liberalized the railway. Margaret Thatcher fought miners, coal miners. Nagati bicha ina mugaso. Na liberalizing economy. But
bamulwanyi sanno sebo
yafuga emyaka emeka
jawerako ne
research Tony Blair yagamba we start a new labor to jereba mu politics. If we want to win back power, we must be more Thatcher than Thatcher herself.
So they rebranded.
Yes. They rebranded to London. But they arrange the transport, the private people. When you have an hour, 2 hours, ticket yenu take on. Yes, Margaret Thatcher has results. The failure by government to explain, no suspicion. Government has lost credibility, public trust. Once a government loses public trust and confidence, everything it does becomes a referendum. If I sell my chengera home, obaka baragala home, nengamba mukazi wange ali echengera nti tugende mu kyalo. Enyumba nesiyiteekayo ogayo wazana njitunda the children ubuzana ganga up against me kubanga ndachitinga bali yes, I've lost credibility. Government uyo omuvu obukati mwebaze yakuba abantu kolero ne musisi nekabusenga olifa bubi kabusenga olifa weta
ayingidde wera
akasajja kakuba nekakubomba
yabulira ba mukwano gwo
kabula nekakubomba sajja wa St. Lawrence nakano kakulubya mbwa alesa abana kubaka agala batwale essomero ly'abaana balidu nga kazimba ebizimbe enanziga naye ala sosudde obufekete bwonna wano
omukyala kati ayingidde mu kofi
yes, explain the impact, the benefits we get. Yes, because I've told you until we've gone back to the original. We are going back to the same Mujin. If it requires a new curriculum in education, ng'abasomesa tembalina ne muddamu buto obuzibu bwa curriculum ya Uganda bubadde ki when East African people are flocking here. Kakati nze nkugamba nti what is important now is a failure by government to explain. If we find a minister
wagamba ne government yote ina PR
teyina
yalema
itebayina Museveni tabayina tayina bamwogere kakati what they want baagala omukazi oyo kampuni y'omukazi oyo ewa abamawulire sente abaavu
bamafia balireka
kakabanda kazunze ntuyoko kakabanda ankubuulire nze kana akataba kano okalaba nakawandiika ddi bukaba nakalaba damusire tawo singa kazunzayo entu nga kafere n'olutwe lwako yinza n'okuwandiika akatabo ebyafaayo byakafere nekateeka mu constituency yako bikaddamu okuŋŋaŋala kabanda is an agent akatabo kano nakawandiika ddi
dated 25th December 2012.
Yes. nawandika ddi nababuulira palamenti ya Uganda nababuulira palamenti ya Uganda
212
I analyzed your parliament understanding mafia politics.
Oh yes, akukadda
a handbook for NRM cadres nali ndowooza nti
ne babisoma
tebayinza
babisoma
webaze yagoba bala disi kankubuulire nakugamba
understanding mafia's politics
nakugamba nti
abotwa ku money making groups
nakuviira wano negamba nti the opposition abali mu parliament ya Uganda
ebiseera ebyo
wenawandiike era be balimu number emu the opposition these have come to realize that it is easier to hoodwink NRM MPs to support their interests, opposition interests, if they are packaged as a national interest. For example, NRM MPs were tricked to support censure motions against ministers, believing that they were fighting corruption. What the opposition MPs did was to package these anti-government motions as intended to solve a problem in a government. What the NRM MPs overlook is that such motions undermine the credibility of their government. It is not in the interest of the opposition to clean up their opponent. Opposition bajja batunda ekintu abenaremu ne bagamba kiyamba eggwanga naye nga bebasinga mungi obungi abenaremu ne babakwata naye nkugamba. However, during such motions we hear slogans and phrases such as this is not NRM, this is not the opposition, this is a national matter that should unite all of us because corruption or any other thing affects all of us irrespective of political affiliation. Therefore, NRM MPs on many occasions end up helping the opposition. In fact, for a party like NRM capable of cleaning itself, the censure motions against ministers would originate from the movement caucus, not the opposition as the current trend is. It should be the movement caucus to tell the minister, you stink. Sikulinda opposition goba minister. Mwali bamwegobedde. So that you take the credit.
So now opposition sets the debate in parliament. Sets the agenda.
This explains why the Public Accounts Committee, headed by the opposition, has taken the center stage in the battle against corruption. What the government has failed to highlight is PAC is its own creation. These are part of the innovations. Otherwise, they were not there. Yes, Nkugamba is a creation of all of these institutions in parliament, a creation of NRM. Although it is a Commonwealth principle that the opposition heads the PAC, this does not mean that it grants it freedom. PAC is not a side that investigates cases. No. It depends on the Auditor General's reports, whose independence depends on the leader in a particular country. In the case of Uganda, this freedom in the parliament is guaranteed by President Museveni. No Auditor General is a foreign diplomat with the diplomatic immunity. What this means is that the Auditor General's independence is guaranteed by the government, and the president, not the opposition. However, the public has been made to believe that the Auditor General is a byproduct of the opposition, which has grabbed the credit from the government. Another important factor is that not all countries have vibrant parliaments. Having an elected parliament does not mean ensure its freedom. The freedom you see in the parliament is as a result of the liberalization policy of Museveni and democratic credentials. This does not For example, between 1980 to 85, we had multi-party politics. Did we have PAC in the parliament? Did the opposition play a role in parliament apart from storming out and boycotting sessions? In many cases, opposition MPs resorted to boycotts. They did not have the political clout like today. And it's because the executive then did not guarantee its freedom. By the NRM government. Tebayina bakyogerera. Parliament kiringa nti
constitution siye babadde
yati yani yakireetawo.
Constitution
Bali bakwatidde mpaka mu parliament bali bakwatiddemu. Bino bifulopinga bino ne bajja musimanyi balwanidde mu parliament bakoze eki. Gwatalina intelligence. Nga nze omusajja yasoma ebintu ebyo nentegeera nti bagenda kulwanira mu parliament. Nze mbaga nti waliwo abatujja abagenda okutega parliament. Netuyiwawo abambadde obukookolo. Waliwo opposition yalwanira mu parliament. Yes, they don't get first hand information. Their intelligence is poor.
Chiche kiramu kati government yeno.
Nemba gamba mu parliament mulimu ba Kavanda nikazunze ntwe kabada gendo
Kavanda yabadde
naye mu kote
abadde abantu bafubuka naye kulembeze waabwe
ne election kabanzi twadda mu kutuganira gwene muwanga kivundu
ekifo nakyakirina ekyabavubuka
mutawanya omukazi
kizaayo
atya kazunga kati obwo bwejenti bwabwe kati bulina ababukozesa
ejenti ya mafia
Kavanda jjayo omutwe nkusese ebbuli mbumanyi kugamba
era kimanyi Kavanda kati kwali akulaba.
I even wonder how people can elect a person like Kavanda as MP.
Yeah?
Yes.
It does not qualify.
Buganda ne bujoga abantu ne bujoga bano bafere banne babo be babuleta oyo ayinza kuyita ewaffe oyo Kavanda naye simba ewaffe ng'oyitamu atya abeeyo mube muwunyise
ava ku mukazi omuyitali
mu parliament bunoonya sente mu parliament mulimu money making group yeyakabanda eyo nabagamba money making group, this is a shrewd group that has taken advantage of the corruption in the government. Although parliament must be populistic, but this does not mean abandoning its cardinal role. MPs have realized that once the corrupt are subject to pressure, they play ball. Bagala kujja sente mukazi.
Bokodio.
Government yapanikinga. Minister of Finance no gamba. Mbo COVID yamugana okuzimba. Era foundation.
Atente embera balinga tembere yenkana zetta.
Yes. COVID yamugana okuzimba.
Kashimanya chettaka.
Kati yechettaka tachimanyi. Nido. Saka the idiot. Noyo mugobe. Saka the fool.
Andana abagoba.
Ati bati abantu ba minister bati
batagira. Bala bebalina.
But the finance minister maje.
Those are
the educated people. Ono musajja gundi yasomera Sandhurst. Economist wa amaanyi. Yo musajja bamuyitanga ali omuwanvu bwati.
Asigale maje akolere.
Ate major.
Ate nashimayo
kati major. Yawumula de retiring. I forgotten his name. Yasoma economics ina gundi masters. They are soldiers with masters degrees. Chogwa yo.
Beba baleta.
Iyo minister wa biashara. Chagua. Toka. Baba kanga.
Tamala bagobye. Tachayagala kumanya.
MPs have realized that once the current are subject to pressure, they play ball. Another score by parliament against the executive is the nature of its operation. Although this is a legislative assembly whose cardinal duty would be to make laws, parliament has usurped the powers of other institutions, and the public does not see this danger of moving towards a parliamentary dictatorship. Abantu abatasoma byabufuzi tebamanyi parliamentary dictatorship. Once you elect a president in parliament agenda kubeera ku ntoli zaabwe bajja musabanga ssente tulabakireeta
ogambe nti parliament
mukireete mulabe sajenti ddo bajjayo enzinyo mukireete mujjeko abantu eddembe ly'okulonda mujja kuleba sajenti ddo ajjayo enzinyo sajenti ddo ajjayo enzinyo mulabe omufuka
wawandika mu kitabo kyekyo nti parliament ewamba obuyinza bwa institutions
kugamba parliament is seen by the gullible public as succeeding where the executive has failed. When ministers are put to task in parliament, they are left to fight alone. This explains why Minister Saida Bumba and Dr. Kidu Makubuya and the Chogamu ministers decided to implicate the president in their scandals to win favors from PACA members who are from the opposition. This creates double loyalty. But who can best help one minister in danger? Is it the PAC or the president? When a minister faces trouble in parliament, abenali muteba muyamba. nalyoka paaka era gundi yajja ewange ekidduma kubuya ale morning apanikinga nanga kiki nti muchogamu nangamba nti Kasiyano Wadiri has told me if I don't implicate Museveni in the scandal or vomit him, is going to take me to Luzira. I looked at the attorney general, a person with a PhD, panicking. Did you? Kasiyano has told you? Yes. I appeared in the park and Kasiyano told me if I don't implicate Museveni, he's going to send me to police. Sikukubira woo paka bajiba mpite mbakubire mu emigo. Nti bayina powers to take it to Kasiyano Wadiri atisa attorney general. Yes. Aina mandate. Ministers. Aina mandate wali. Bempigwa wapaka. Wapaka omerachi. Amwe minister mwana MP. Ngani mu parliament kyogere. Kyogere baga nene chamani wapaka. Mukubira ku madala amanyonga mu kati mandate ogala kujikola. Anti nkubulidde. Nti nabuuza kidduma kubuya. Nti did you swallow Museveni? Nga kidduma kubuya anonya Museveni tamulaba. Nti omusajja ngambi if I go back in 2 days and eventually implicated Museveni. Anti nkubulira nti when there is a crisis, no, but minister bali mu crisis, movement caucus yali badeba etuwa wabbo wunya resign tetujja kuyamba oba kyewakola ministers lwaki mu America bayina presidential pardons. Presidential pardon kitegeeza president wa Uganda ayinza okulagira okukola ekintu ekiriyirigo naye nga kiyamba eggwanga. Kakati osanga wa minister yogera nga tumwebaza tekyo sikimanyiiko tukimanyiiko kuba tukyali minister ate onaamanya kuki nayogera mu bantu kuba minister abalina okuba nga akimanyi. Omukazi wawaka abaana ne bamubuuza mami nvaaki yagambye sendaka kazimanyi mami nvaaki mami nvaaki sizimanyi. Oli mama ki awusigala atandise okufumba emmere nga tomanyi ogenda musanga mbuliri. That's what it means. Kakati nkugamba I was amazed when state house officials handed over a list of other districts to the president's parliamentary committee whose bias against the president is obvious, even to a baby. The committee recommended the sacking of other districts because they knew that it would undermine the president. It was intended to prove to the affected other districts that the president could not protect them. In my opinion, Parliament cannot verify one's academic qualifications. This is the role of courts because parliamentarians themselves have had this academic problem and have always been referred to the courts. In order to undermine the president, the committee further ordered the scrapping of state house scholarships because, according to them, the scholarships were giving the president political mileage, which had to be undermined. Interestingly, Parliament was not abolishing the scheme. It was rather transferring the scholarships from the president to the Minister of Education, whether they could easily share the offers from themselves. Furthermore, unlike the executive, which has strictly observed its law, Parliament orders the arrest of corrupt government officials. They have ordered sackings. They have handled public issues like markets. They have revived court cases. They have intimidated the judiciary, Ayingidde, and other government institutions. In a nutshell, they have successfully insulated themselves from public scrutiny because they are seen, perceived by the public as an active parliament. Yes, it is true. Parliament must be populistic, but it cannot lose its core, its cardinal role of legislation. Yes. Muina legal committee, muinachi. But the Kabandas are fighting, threatening the woman. The woman is smart, is an international business woman. Mugena mujja kochi. Ajakuba wayera, bimanyi kasaya jamu Africa. Kasitaya bagamba nti musasule. Ne pipe ya Tanzania mujja gisasula. Ne double age lero wano mujja gisasula. Kubaka ti double age lero mwegendo kuyita bazimba mudda. Yes. Mulema bizimbe. Compensation. Eya mukijja kutambula. Eya Kenya tuzena. We are equal members of the East African community. Tell us kyemusiko walinga. mutubulire kugamba nti president yekyatategeera president kyatategeera ku parliament yekola bwetyo nakugamba in villages the only chairperson who follows the law becomes unpopular. People want action, not legal jargons. Fortunately for MPs, nobody comes to question their mode of operation. The media wrongly believes that Parliament is complementing the executive. But these are paid up media, these are mercenary. Monitor. Those are good mercenary media. They think that MPs are doing what the executive has failed to do. Parliament is also the largest source of information in Uganda. Its news, in many cases, falls into sensational nature, which boosts newspaper sales. This has cemented the bond between MPs and the media. Secondly, newspaper sales depend on conflicts, not development issues. The way our parliament operates always reminds me of mob justice. Many villages prefer mob justice because it's quicker at dispensing justice, precise, and does not require advocates or call for witnesses. Because if Kabanda was, I don't know his level of education, from Mwanga, I know his brain has been affected. This is not the Mwanga, I know. Has been affected by what? If there is a conflict over the agreement, who is called to explain to Parliament? You are experts, the Solicitor General and the Attorney General. Solicitor General, yes. No Auditor General, yes. So the three of them should appear. They should appear to answer the queries. Yes. Sikuogalia mukazi abawe sente nga bakabanda ekibagala wanga mukazi ayina abantu bakola nabo nga expert of the government naye ayina balooya be balime kumulumba be yanako ewa kitegereke kabanda omukazi tajja kuwa sente kabanda kulunu zonze I reincite even iwamwe mu constituency oleme kuddayo kabanda ngenda kukuba olukuba kabanda yakoze tajja ziri nkamanyi nnyo nkusajja ku nkamanyi nnyo kayina abakakoleramu tekasana nakubeera kabaka ka parliament buli wekaliko nabuvuyo nakulabanga mu parliament nebwe kampunira atono musesa soka bempinka malewo bwebwo bubutu mwebaze bwaniwo. That's the same group. Ono gundi wali wakankubira simu bakayitanikana kase wava. That's the same group. Yes, National President's Office, National Chairman's Office. They discredit. Uyu mwana sewabayankubira kesimu nangamba olanya nesemwogerere akibisopo bagenda kukyali wange ku Sande naawe tukwagala oli musajja mugezi nenfuna omuntu amanyise mwogere ntebiriyo kakati oyo omwana bali bagenda kunkidinapinga ye tamanyi nti nze simu eno mbambalabo. When you talk to me, nti bano abasajja bekyengera ekiro kyonna nabawulidde nga boogera has the money come, has the operation been done, kati sewavayo omu ne Kabanda semugulupu semugulupu buyinvokinga erinnya lyamu ne buyinvokinga erinnya lya Museveni kakabanda nekaleege entwe mbaba omuntu ogwo nti these people what they don't know, they will chase away investors. They will chase away investors. Yes. Because if this woman kambabuli kambabuli omusajja mugagga nnyo eyagula essomero lya Simon bamuleeta wano. President said saalyagadde kujjawo essomero eryo muzimbeko paati naye baŋŋambye Museveni consults baŋŋambye nti abazungu bakunama bajja kunamira abaana baffe mujjewo essomero eryo mulizimbe ewalala. The man offered to construct a school. President n'agamba n'ekyokubiri, when you see these hotels mu mawanga agamu zibeera mu kifo kimu nti oyina Sheraton, oyina Imperial, oyina Speak, oyina ewa Kigongo, oyina awo ku Nairo, kakati nawano bwokolawo nti omuntu kati fe abatambuddeko bw'otuuka mu kifo ekimu ne baga nti bajjudde oba wakooye dda nnyo naye bano bakubira bannaabwe essimu nti mulinayo ki era kyova wulira byasala street byagundi kakati president agamba naye esente bazibba esente bwe bazibba eza Simoni kulizimba balina gye bakatwala era ne bugana kubukabanda ne bugana n'entweyeko n'entwe bubbe. What happened? Omusajja yagamba eyo protein gye bawadde. It is going to discredit my name because you don't know this Italian woman in story obubukabanda bumutye business ewalala olutweka nonya okubba kubanga akegase ne muwanga kivumbira bana abalala bakanga kati omuyitala abayite tajja bayita kati akasaabo kange kafulumye kafulumye kwekali ku street kwekali kati
kali muhozi kali n'olugaba become muhozi
asobolera ddala tolaba ono bwamubuuza
tugenda kasoma sabijja
tolaba bebi
abuuza ono omukulu
amubuuza owagala
muhozi kali n'olugaba asobola okubeera muhozi
amubuuza can he grow
asobola okukula
bebi n'amugamba nti yes I have stamina nowagalubindi owagalubindi atunudde bwati era wenale kani this one gulo bebi naddamu yes olaba bebi bwavuddemu essajja kati era abasekansnudda nako mukanonyibakwatire ku kafekete k'omukampala mbakwatire ku kisaka mbakwatire ku basitekanso nako mukanonyi.
Where do you see FDC, NUP, DP moral by elections?
No, what Mao is the kingmaker there. Mao has told them, if bumutasimba omutabani wola nyanzija kakati ono chairman ona wese ewa 5 oyo
ngalachamala kubagamba
mwegendereze oyo wa 5 ali mu group y'abano abamadinga waters chairman wa 5 mumwegendereze ali mu group ye.
So where is no
anti
DP yonjirabe we
ono yiba anti kakati ono Bobi Wine bamukwata ne bamukozesa donke waka
agenda kuwagira
yagende hege yagenda luddawa Besigye asirise ye Besigye yes dangerous substitute
alinze
kasarwabo ne muhozi Museveni alimo okujja mu
bana bawatagala
ni balemeramu atelwabo go prefazani
wewa
aprefaringa lwaboga aprefaringa gundi ani
mutabani wa
kiza Besigye yes
wachiri
ono gwatayagala mukodomiwe kitegeeza nti yazanya gwa kifiriza
obadde mulabi mulungi nnyo
okuba
Ayingidde program omukulembeze
w'enkya Kiza Besigye w'amaanyi nnyo
ogenda kumuddamu
take advantage of the confusion ni Museveni
tugenda kubeera naye mu ngeri mwenda saa mwenda zennyini tugenda kuba n'omukugu nafu Tamale Mirundi olunaku lw'Essande nga tuzeemu programu eno olwaleero natusomeseza ebintu bingi nnyo ebyenjawulo mpadde toki nnungi nnyo mukomekereza wano ekigenda okubeera mu Amoro agambye nti Norbert Mao ye kingmaker ate ye munnange president wa NUP ali ku donke wa